And welcome to the stream. I am Bahamut, your caster. Ooh, we had a little bit of a dip there in this intro. All right, but I got put as a referee. Sad face. Unfortunately, we will be seeing chat. Oh, it's called barcode. I just kept saying L every time. So here we are going into Cursed Hall. This is that's a big old dip on my stream. That should solve it. Let me just close out of that as well. And all those are closed. Okay.
Connection detected.
Oh, thanks so much for the host, Flex. So, going into this draft, we have Cursed Hollow. Quite a large map in the pool, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see some sort of priority on globals here, as well as probably a lot of good people for fighting over these points. A lot of things like Malfurion's Roots would be pretty useful here. Uther is an all-around just, it seems like he's just he works with every comp. The stuns, the poke that he has pair well with a lot of heroes. So if they're not trying to pick it up, maybe they're going to try and limit the hero pool. Looks like we are going to be having the Ariel banned out here. So at this point, with that banned out, I wonder if they're just intentionally trying to deny something down the road. But Genji's going to be banned out here on the side of Sky5. So NoobSlayin on the right-hand side, they're going to be going ahead and picking up their first tier here. Now,
the light abandons no man.
I was thinking you would just go ahead and pick up the Dahaka for the utility on this map, but they're going to go ahead and grab the Uther. And the Uther is a smart choice because of the fact that, as I was saying earlier, he's just a strong healer. He fits with most comps, and he's got enough in his kit where having him would be extremely beneficial. Just overall, I mean, the D-Shield as well as the D-Storm, depending on what you end up drafting. Those are going to be some interesting tools to have at your disposal. So on this map, with the two picks here, they could go ahead and pick up a healer and a tank, or excuse me, a healer and like an off tank. So that Dahaka we were talking about, I think would be really, really good on this map because you can go ahead, pick up that global priority. So there's that. And then maybe picking... Okay, so, and one of the things that I was thinking about, as I was starting to discuss, like, fighting over these points, as I was starting to talk about fighting over these points is... the Malfurion is extremely strong here because of the fact that you have to fight over these points. So the roots that he can provide, some zoning tools, are going to be beneficial to what they're going to be trying to build around here. Now, NoobSlayin, they got to pick up something else here, and I'm thinking maybe a range damage like a Vala and a tank, like maybe a Nubarak, because he has very good poke. That would go very well here. But also, Greymane's open, and Greymane does provide some decent dive. Now, Curse Bullet was nerfed by 5%, and I haven't really played enough heroes to see if it's affected him to the point, of, neutering him, or is it still a viable choice? So, and Stitches is also good here. So maybe Stitches and Greymane, I think, would work really well. They're actually going to go ahead and pick up the Diablo with the Greymane, and I think Diablo is actually a better choice. The Stitches is good because there is the hook and the pull in, and that does pair well with the Uther and the Greymane. But over these points that you'd be fighting over, Diablo, I think, has a little bit more control with his Shadow Charge as well as his Overpower. So those are a couple things that I think are definitely going to be useful tools for picking up that Diablo. Now we're going to be going into our next ban phase here, and the one thing that I'm curious as to what they would be banning out is, are they going to go ahead and just try and neuter some of the range damage at this point? Because that's what I would think you would want to do. They've got a good healer, they've got a good dive. They're going to go ahead and ban out the Anubrak. Now, the double tank would work here. Anubrak does have a pretty good ability to poke as well as dive in, and he does have some decent control here as well. So that is definitely going to be something that is going to be a benefit on the side of Sky5 to ban out. Now, NoobSlayin, they're going to actually look to ban out the Murky. I don't believe it. Yeah. With the Vala still available, it's just like, there's no way that they're going to be banning that out. With the Vala still up at this point, and Tassadar having pretty good poke, the Tassadar ban is not a bad idea at all. The combo of those two works really well. They have the slot open for it if they are okay with just solo tanking, or well, not solo tanking. They just be putting a lot onto their Vala. They're gonna go ahead and pick up the Cassie with the Li Ming. Now the Cassie will provide blinds against the Greymane and the Diablo. I mean, most of their team is auto-attacky. They don't have a mage on the side here, so maybe picking up... I think with the way that their comp is starting to shape up, they're going to need another solo laner, so maybe an Arthas would be pretty strong. He's really good at fighting over the points. And then someone who can run in the middle with Diablo and Uther. Li Ming's already picked up. They're probably going to go for another tank, so you could maybe go Malthael, but then the Cassie kind of blinds him, so he's kind of useless. So there's Arthas, and that pairs well with the team, but I think they're going to need some sort of range damage. Actually, they're going to go ahead and pick up the Illidan. I was thinking that, and I was thinking like maybe another spellcaster like a Gul'dan might work for the points, because the corruption damage is pretty powerful, but Illidan on this map is pretty good. His ability to get camps is strong. His ability to solo lane is great, as well as, you know, at 10, if he picks up the hunt, he then technically has a semi-global. So that a little bit counteracts the Dahaka, kind of. But they're going to definitely be looking to probably pick up another tank here at this point to round out their comp. And it's actually going to be Joanna. Okay. I was thinking that maybe a Varian would go well with them because he could slow. There would be the tongue from Dahaka as well as the roots from Malfurion, while Li Ming and Cassie were blinding and, you know, throwing out orbs and magic missiles. So, but the Joanna does provide a decent amount of, you know, she can pull a lot of people back into a fight. She's got the stun from the Blessed Shield. I'm thinking... I feel like it's going to go to the side of NoobSlayin. That's just me, though. Okay, so we are going into our first game of the evening. On the left-hand side, we have Apple Mike on Cassia, Quan Finnegan on Dahaka, Gabe on Joanna, Strange Goat on Malfurion, and Spitfire on Li Ming. On the right-hand side, we have NoobSlayin with Flex Squad on Diablo, Barcode on Arthas, Citrusy on Illidan, NoobSlayer 67 on Greymane, and NoobSlayer 76 on Uther. The thing that... So, I was kind of giving it to the side of NoobSlayin, and I think their fight over the shrine is way better. But at the same time, like, they have a very good fight, but at the same time, I feel like if they do get one or two picks, that Li Ming is going to just really start being a pain in the butt. If they do get, you know, one pick onto maybe the Greymane Illidan, that Li Ming will get one reset, and then they can really start to dig into the next hero, which would probably be Uther or, you know, Illidan or Greymane, whichever one didn't die, I would assume. This is going to be an interesting game.
10 seconds.
We are going to be having Dahaka look like he's going to be going straight into top. Greymane will be going into bottom. We're going to have a small skirmish in mid between the four men. Actually, we're going to have Greymane, or excuse me, Dahaka go right back in. Looks like they're holding a lot of their talents on the side of Sky5. Posturing here. Arthas is already going up to top. Greymane and Uther are already going to bottom. It looks like Flex Squad is just kind of scouting this out a little bit, seeing if they're going to be going for the engage. They get a little bit of damage onto him, but I do not think it will be netting them a kill in any way. But really just kind of wasted a little bit of time. The minion waves are just getting into bottom and top, so it's not like they really lost a whole lot of experience or anything. At this point, they are just going to leave their Diablo in mid. Greymane looks like he's hiding in the bush with the Illidan, excuse me. So it looks like they're going to go ahead. Okay. I was wondering if they were going to be coming in on for a flank. Now, the thing is, the Illidan pickup here is a little confusing to me because they had the Cassia and No, they already had the Cassia, I believe, and then they locked the Illidan. So the blinds against that is going to be extremely hard. Then the Joanna is a stronger pickup than the Varian, I was thinking, mostly because of the fact that the blinds that she provide against the Illidan as well and the Greymane are going to be very strong. So, you know, I'm saying that they're going to have the team fight-wise, but if they're blinded the entire time, that's not going to be working out for them too good. Now, it looks like in bottom, we are going to be having the Greymane pushing in the Li Ming quite a bit, and in top, we're just going to have Arthas pushing in this Dahaka a small amount. Now, it looks like Illidan will be rotating up into top. Are we going to be seeing him potentially go for a pick onto the Dahaka? I think he does see that he is getting the vision, so he is playing safer by the gate. And at this point, it just really just forces a rotation out of Joanna, which kind of puts the team in a little bit of an aggressive positioning in this mid, but the rest, you know, they were still behind the gate, so they could not really come into this fight. And Joanna's already back, so it was a small deterrent for a few minutes here, for a few seconds actually, but in about 30-ish seconds, we should have the first tribute being started, and then at 1:45 it should be spawning, or I believe maybe it's 1:45, and then at 3 minutes it spawns.
Heroes, gather tribute.
So it spawns at 1:30. Okay, so Illidan at this point will be getting this camp. It's kind of something that you would basically start with, hoping that this first tribute is going to be in this top lane actually, so the siege camp can push. Dahaka and Joanna will be doing the same. Dahaka can burrow in, but he is quite low on health. Curious, he's going to go straight into top, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and just give this first objective. Maybe have Li Ming poke a little bit, but it's not going to be able to delay this long enough for them to kind of clear those giants in bottom and de-push any of that. Now, in top, they're saying they gave up that first tribute for the experience gain that they can get, so this huge rotation has to come out of the enemy team, and they're not even all there yet. So they're going to go ahead and confirm these two towers, which will give them just about a level lead on the side of Sky5. Now, they do get the Shadow Charge in from the Diablo. He does get the Overpower onto the Dahaka as well, but that will not be working out for him at all. So they will kind of start to push this back a little bit. With the 3-man in top here and the healer, it's going to be a little difficult. With the next tribute coming quite soon, Illidan will be working on this next hard camp over in the bottom right. And with that tribute, he's going to time that out exactly at the same time. So it's going to be in mid, which means that if the first one was in bottom middle, the next one was in bottom left, the last one will be in top right for this 3 cycle. Now, Illidan is getting a little sticky onto this Dahaka, but it will not be working out for him. The tribute is popped, and 3 members are currently top, and it looks like they're going to try and get this kill. So they're going to go ahead and sacrifice this for the potential kill onto the Dahaka. If he gets his W off, he can just walk right through them, but he'll be dying. Now, the levels are equal, but they did give up that 1 tribute. And they're not going to be pushing in because I believe, yeah, the Arthas had to go all the way back. Li Ming will be starting to push in this bottom a little bit here against this Greymane with this Joanna. It's going to be difficult for him to kind of push back against her. It looks like the mid camp was just cleaned up. They didn't really get too much, maybe a couple cannon shots off, but at this point, Sky5 is having really, really good map control. NoobSlayin is trying to... We do see this overpower onto the Malfurion, though. They are trying to get into him. There are so many members, but Illidan will actually be falling first, and that's that huge blind from the Cassia that really stopped them. Barcode will be getting chased here. Is there going to be a confirmed kill? Greymane does come in here, but Cassia does get the kill with the Fend. Greymane does actually get the counter kill onto the Cassia, and that is going to be a 2-for-1 trade. Now, Illidan is already back up. The tribute is just popping. We do have the Dahaka already in position. The Illidan is going to be late. And it looks like they're going to have to give this one up, and it will be going over to Sky5. Okay. Well, we have some of these rotations coming back in for the next tribute. Let's take a quick peek at some of these talents that we've had so far. It looks like Dahaka's going a little bit different. He's taking the Enduring Swarm at level 1. He's getting spell armor, which is interesting to me. The block from Joanna makes that makes sense the way that she would be going that way. It looks like Cassie will be about halfway, a little bit over halfway through hers. And Uther's just finishing up his level 1. Oh. There we go. So at this point, with the tribute popping up quite soon, it is going to be anywhere on the map. It will be in top, and that's exactly actually where Dahaka is. And it will show him coming through here, too. So Diablo does know that he has to go back. Now, a lot of them are working on their 10s here, and it looks like Sky5 will be getting quite close to it. This mid wave should be able to guarantee that on the side of NoobSlayin. The tongue goes out, but it misses actually onto the Arthas. They do not get him, but the root does come out from him. There is a Li Ming orb to try and push them back a little bit here, but the hunt comes in all the way already. There was also the curse bullet. Li Ming is already split from the team and killed. Retreats are called out. Looks like the Furs is going to be channeled by the Greymane at this point. They're really going to be start pushing in here. Greymane did confirm that, so he will be rotating into his team. The ball lightning does spread to many of the members. The cocktail just barely misses. And it looks like we'll have a complete disengage. So they go ahead and get they got that Li Ming kill, which was extremely helpful for them. In mid, though, they did have this wizard pushing up a little bit here with a couple knights. But right away, Dahaka burrowed into bottom. He went deep push that siege camp that was pushing right. I think Illidan got it right at the start of the curse point. So, or excuse me, tribute point. Now, at this point, we do have 2 points on either side, so this is going to be a very, very important tribute. The spawn location, I believe, will be in bottom next. It could be top, but it's usually rare that it spawns double same side. Now, we do have this Arthas going down onto the Dahaka, but with the slows and everything, he should be able to make it to his tower. There is a rotation from the Greymane. He does have his Crucible in about 5 seconds, but they are starting to get collapsed upon. This is not the situation that Arthas wants to be in, so Arthas will be falling here. And with that, the tribute should be quite soon, and 20 seconds might be a little bit long for him to get back onto the map. Okay, so it gives exactly... He'll be spawning exactly when this is coming up. We do actually have the hunt from the Illidan onto the Cassia. There is a stun and an overpower and a shadow charge. She gets the lightning ball off onto a few of them, but it will not be netting any sort of back off. She will be dying. So at this point, if they can just poke this, it looks like that won't be happening. So this will be curse going over to Sky5. So their bottom is pushed in decently. Their top is already has the Illidan up there, so it's going to be... They won't be getting a lot from this unless it looks like they maybe are going to focus on pushing up their mid. It was their most pushed in lane, but... Dahak is actually coming in here. He did get the cursed bullet. He does use his essence. He does get charged by the Diablo. Overpower as well. There is the Arthas kind of zoning that area, and Dahaka will be... I think my game froze? Okay, there we go. So the Dahaka will be falling there. We will be having this mid-push happening from Sky5, but there is a little bit of a flank. The Army of the Undead is used already. The huge... There's a stun from the Uther and a charge in from the Illidan. There's a silence from the Malfurion, which saved them a little bit, but the Curse Bullet does go out onto the Joanna. They get the kill onto Malfurion, who started moving away from his teammates. Now, this is the worst situation you can be in on a Curse. The lanes are pushed up, and that is extremely good for them, but they are losing heroes and losing levels. We are going to have a pause really quick here. I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of a lag spike for everyone. Yeah, everyone's lagging. So we're going to go to a quick break screen. Let me just set that up really quick. Make sure we have that all set. Okay, we're going to go to a quick break screen, and we will be right back. forgot to put my audio back on. All right, so we are back into the game. So we do have this top push currently happening, which will be going ahead and just getting cleaned up by the Illidan, but it will not be done quick enough to save the fort. Nope, I lied. They did save the fort with a literal sliver of health. They go straight onto this boss, seeing that, well, I guess they know that a lot of the members aren't on map currently. So they're going to go ahead and push. They're going to go ahead and get this boss. The other team will do that as well. So let's take a quick peek at some of these talents. Looks like Diablo will go into mid just to show a little bit here. We are having the isolation actually from the Dahaka, which will probably be targeting onto the Uther, so he can't Divine Shield. Now, Diablo does have a stack, so he can... I mean, he can sacrifice, but he shouldn't, and so that's going to be Diablo dying here. He should have Soul, so he'll be up in 3 seconds. But that's the unfortunate, you kind of burned 100 souls right there just to come back alive to scout out the boss. I don't know if maybe he thought that the team was coming up behind him or the hunt was going to come up from the Illidan. God, that tower. I'm just waiting for it to fall. So they're going to go ahead and push this in. It looks like Illidan will be seeing them in bottom, and so he'll be aggressing in top himself. So with this, they are going to be going ahead and on the side of NoobSlayin picking up the siege camp. So this will help them push back a little bit here. Now, Diablo did get shield, Blessed Shield, and Tongued. There was a little bit of a root onto him. They put all the damage out onto him. So that's a lot of abilities put out onto Diablo trying to get this kill, and it did not work out. Now, they are pushing onto a keep gate, which is a little bit more than what Illidan's got going for himself, but bottom was pushed in a little bit more beforehand. So they're going to go ahead and back off here at this point. They got the well, they got the gate. They're going to say that's enough for us. Dahaka will be burrowing top. Should be able to get... Illidan should be able to get away from this quick enough without a problem. Now, the curse point is also in a pretty good location for NoobSlayin. Looks like they are chasing this down currently. The lightning ball does come... Well, the ball lightning does come out. Arthas does use his army of the undead. They do get the root onto the Cassia, and just they collapse upon her right away. So with that, though, Illidan looks like he will be just fighting the Dahaka here. And even though he got isolated, the Illidan should actually be able to win this. Because he doesn't have the... I guess they check... Oh... I was wondering if he was gonna check bush that way. But at this point, so... Curse will be gotten on the side of NoobSlayin. This is a pretty good situation for their top. They probably will be rotating into this. They have the vision, so they won't know that they will be happening. They will be rotating in here. So this Dahaka could get caught out of position, but it looks like he's playing pretty safe. Well, I mean, I was going to say he's playing safe to his gate, but the gate won't do any damage. He's going to actually walk into this bush. Curse Bullet does come out. Illidan gets the hunt right away, and they go ahead and collapse upon him. And they're going to be moving on to this keep right here during this curse. Now... A lot of the team will be responding. They do get the hard camp pushing into mid, so we'll be getting them a little bit of deep push there. Bottom is currently getting extremely large minion wave-wise, but at this point it's going to be a guaranteed keep. They get the ball lightning out, but it's just going to kind of make them spread out a little bit here. And that is going to be a keep gotten. They're going to go ahead back off. They get the root onto Arthas. The cleanse is there onto him. He actually turns around. The Curse Bolt does go out onto the Joanna. She pops her unstoppable. The silence is there from the Malfurion and the Blind, and at this point, with the D-Shield on the Illidan, it looks like they will be only losing the Diablo. He did not have enough souls there. Nope, we will be losing the Arthas as well. He's trying to buy a little bit of time for his team. The Dahaka actually did come into the bush, and I believe he used his isolation to get that kill. Now, he should be coming up through this bush, and they will be getting the... Uther as well. But I would like to note, so they did get all these kills, and that is extremely good. But at the same time, they did buy a whole lot of time for these 3 or 4 archer minions to come in here, and it looks like they're going to say, you know what, our keep's gone. They're going to go ahead and take one of their own. With about 13 seconds left on Diablo and 20 or so seconds left on a lot of the other heroes, they really... Oh no, Illidan, this is the worst position for you to be in. He does actually get pushed out of that, and he will be safe for the time being. Whew, this Illidan. So, with that, the keep in top actually, or in bottom has got the sliver, but the minion wave is already there. It should be confirming that second keep. And with the Diablo and the rest of the members just getting back up, they do lose the keep gate wall, but they still save it. And I keep on to poke. Oh, the minion wave's starting to build up over there, and they're going to be able to save that. they just need an Azmodan who can dunk bottom. Like, that's all they need. Or an Abathur, or, you know, a Falstad, or just, you know, just about anybody. So they're going to go ahead and really focus on de-pushing this bottom wave here. They want to make sure that this is not a lane where they have catapult pressure, because that's just going to be more work for them to clean up against. So at this point, we are going to be having... Looks like just camps are going to be picked up. People are playing extremely safe because I believe the next tribute point should be coming up soon. And with it being 0-0, you know, the advantage is... You know, it's always better to have the advantage. So at this point, they're going to try and work towards their 20s, close up the experience gap, and just get their waves pushed up and just play safe. So the tribute's actually going to be spawning in the top area with where this boss will be. Now, it looks like Arthas is potentially leading them to where the boss pickup is. The boss doesn't leash right away. They could go on to this. No, so they let it leash. It's just going to go back up to full health. Malfurion does provide some decent vision there. The hunt does come in onto the Li Ming over here, though. He does start to run away, pulling some of the members, trying to pull some of the members towards him so that the positioning is a little thrown off. Illidan will walk around this wall. Now the Curse Bolt does come out, but the rest of his team is not there to follow up on it, so they're going to be about 25 seconds till they can get that. Illidan is rotating back around this wall, so he will be able to come into this. He does not have Hunt, so they don't have that kind of mini-stun with him. And it looks like at this point, the Li Ming will be going ahead and picking up this tribute point. And I think they're kind of faking boss at this point, trying to see if they're going to be coming into it. They do show one or two members in top wave. The Gilneas Cocktail shows a little bit more. And at this point, it looks like they're really trying to kind of maybe take a fight before 20. Dahaka is forced into bottom to go ahead and clear up that siege camp. They do see him at this point, so they kind of aggress a little bit harder here. The hunt does come in from the Illidan onto the Malfurion. There is the ball lightning from the Cassia. The blind was there as well. Malfurion does get a silence onto many of the members, but there is the Curse Bullet from the Greymane, and we're actually going to be seeing the Li Ming falling here. Greymane, excuse me, also the Malfurion as well. Greymane having that D-shield him at the last second, though. There is a pull-in from the Joanna. They do get another kill and another kill, and at this point it looks like we are going to have a team wipe, and this is going to be a core march.
Blue team's core is
So with that, the blinds were there, but I thought the blinds were going to be the thing that kind of really hindered these guys, but they avoided them quite well. The Greymane actually swiping away and dying there. GGs are called. The first game will be going over to NoobSlayin. GG, well played. Alright, and welcome back into our second game of the evening. They actually swap sides, so the little thing is going to be wrong. So on the left-hand side, we actually have NoobSlayin, and on the right, we have Sky5. I was watching them. You didn't juke the caster, but I did forget to change my cursor size again. But either way, here we are in our second game of the evening on Dragonshire. Now, this map... From my understanding of playing the map and just watching and just learning from other players, it seems like at this point you need two strong solo laners and then someone in mid. So you'd put one of those solo laners in top, you'd put one of those solo laners in mid, and then maybe run a 3-man in bottom. Or you can even put 1 man in top and then run a 4-man in between mid and bottom. The rotation isn't that big, but it's still, I mean... It's plausible. It's just you still need someone after that rotational phase during the beacon phase to actually go ahead and get that middle. So they still need to be a decent solo laner, at least in my opinion. So at this point, we're gonna have the Genji band out, which he's strong on this map. He's got a lot of versatility to get around the map and poke and do damage. So that's going to be Sky5 is actually going to be banning that out. The colors just swap. They swap sides. I was watching in the lobby. So the next ban here, though, I just realized how quiet it was. Will be Uther. And I'm not I guess since the Genji was banned out, they don't want to give the Uther, so they're just gonna go ahead and ban it here. And I guess if you don't want to play against it and you don't want to have that, D shield or D storm against you, that's what you do if you know it's gonna hinder your comp way too much. So, first pick here, the Dahaka worked out really well for them last match, I think. He did get a lot of side soak and a lot of push going. But maybe a different globe, maybe like a Falstead here would be pretty useful. He has pretty good beacon control. Or altar, the shrine. Nope, I don't know. I have to listen in the game and actually try to remember what they are. But Dahaka's going to go ahead and be picked up here, so they're going to go ahead and get that global threat. Okay. And the Falstead works here. It's just I think Dahaka's just a little bit stronger because he does offer a better push off the bat, as well as he scales quite well. And I feel like Falstead he gets stronger later in the game, whereas Dahaka, I think he just scales throughout the game. Like, I think there's just a big buff for Falstead around like the 13 mark. I think that's probably around like close to finishing AA build, and you've got a lot of the tools that you need. But anyways, this first and second pick from NoobSlayin. They're actually going to go for the Stitches Grey Main. So they're going to go ahead and still run the Grey Main like they did last game. But they're going to switch out the Diablo for a Stitches. Now, Stitches works here really well because in these altar phases or shrines, the Stitches can really just pull some of the members who are maybe running away from an engagement they didn't realize they were going into by maybe face checking a bush or something. But the Stitches offers a lot of utility on this map. But I'm curious to see, with the changes that came into his slam build, how that's going to really affect his effectiveness. So the next picks that we're going to be having up on the side of Sky5, just to remind everyone again, they switch sides so the colors don't match, but we still have NoobSlayin on the left with one game up against Sky5 on the right. They could go, I don't know why you would, but you could go Brightwing and then maybe go ahead and pick up your mage. Okay, I like that. Okay. The double threat here is pretty good. Emerald Wind can be extremely useful, and Kael'thas does do well on these shrines. So now to kind of hinder this comp, they're really going to want to look at specific things, like, because they have the next pick on the side of NoobSlayin. So they're going to say, what do we want to get rid of on their team, but pick up ourselves? And so they currently need a little bit of melee. Malthael is an option, but they'd have to be guaranteeing that double tank, and Stitches can be run solo, I believe, at this point. So I don't know if really Malthael is a huge threat. Alarak's still a viable option, I think. He provides really good control in some of the team fights, as well as comboed with the Kael'thas that might be really strong. I think the Alarak, if they're not going to be taking it, excuse me, I just punched my mic. If they're not going to be taking it, they're actually going to ban out the Johanna. So they're going to go more towards the route of the tank, and that must mean that they have something in mind, that they have something coming up that's just going to be another auto attacker, maybe like that Illidan, and they don't want to deal with another blind. Now, if they did go into the Illidan, that might not be the best choice because the Brightwing does have the polymorph, which really kind of, it destroys the way he plays because he can't dive in and dive out. If he dives in, he gets polymorphed, and then he just kind of gets collapsed upon. So at this point, we're going to have the ban on the side of Sky5. And this is the hard part with... Well, I mean, I guess you could just limit the healer pool. Since the Uther's not there, if they go solo Brightwing, they could just go ahead and knock out the Ariel or... Actually, the Rhaegar would be pretty good here, but they're going to hover actually Malfurion. He's strong over these shrine fights, but I think the Rhaegar would actually be a little bit more beneficial on the side of NoobSlayin. The chain heals, I think, would be better for the altar phases. Malfurion does provide good roots and good stun. Well, I guess just roots, not really stuns. He does, and the Twilight Dream is really, really impactful, but I think Rhaegar just works better here. Yep, and so he'll be picked up. Cool. And then with that, they're probably going to want to be picking up some sort of range damage or mage, so they could go maybe into a Vala. They're actually going to pick up Malthael themselves, and I guess with the Dahaka, they know that they're not going to be soloing with the Dahaka, so, you know, with the 2 tanks, that is enough of a health pool to maybe warrant the Malthael. And the Rhaegar Ancestral does pair well with that also. When the Malthael does go into a fight, and he does use Tormented Souls, if he does start to get low and he's being collapsed upon, there is the Ancestral Healing for that second health bar. Excuse me. So that's going to be really, really good. Now, their team is still very, very auto-attacky, so they might want to pick up someone who has blinds. Now, the Joanna, this is what we talked about in the Joanna ban phase, or in the second ban phase, the reason Joanna was banned out. They must have been going into more auto-attackers. So with that, though, I don't think I was like, do you maybe take a Lily and that just completely go blind build? But then you'd have to then lock in another tank with that. So they're going to go ETC and Tracer. I wonder if they're going to go Stage Dive for a triple global. I guess Tracer can get under that Rhaegar, but the slowing totem and I don't know. I don't see how the Tracer works. Because I don't feel like she has many targets to work on. Malthael, kinda, but if he marks her, then he just takes... It's percentile health, but usually if Tracer's going in, some of the team is there too. We'll see. This last pick, though, they've got a strong tank. They've got a strong solo laner and burst. I think they honestly... Well, the Rhaegar solos pretty well. So they're going to go ahead and pick up more shielding. And I was just trying to think, like, what's going to counteract, like, a Kael'thas and a Brightwing? And the Tracer, too. Because if Tracer dives onto someone... I actually really like the Zarya pick here, because if the Tracer dives in on someone, she just puts the shield onto them, and Tracer just then builds the shielding for Zarya. And then if Tracer goes in on a target and is, you know, trying to burst them down, and then there's just a shield right there, she has to burn all of her recall and everything just to get out of a situation where she got nothing. So the Zarya pick actually really strong on the side of NoobSlayin. So on the left-hand side, we have NoobSlayin with NoobSlayer67 on Greymane, Barcode on Zarya, NoobSlayer76 on Rhaegar, Citru on Malthael, and Flex Squad flexing on his Stitches. I'm trying to change my scene really quick. There we go. And on the right-hand side, we have Sky5 with Oh, I'll have to do this in the game. I'm sorry. On the right-hand side, we have Sky5 with Apple Mike on Tracer, Strange Goat on Brightwing, Quan Finnegan on Dahaka, Gabe on ETC, and Spitfire on Kael'thas. While we load in here, let's take a quick peek at some of these level 1 talents.
Battle commencing in 10 seconds. 5.
All
4,
right.
3,
Kael'thas is still holding his first one. We are going to have the block party from the ETC.
let the battle begin.
Slam build from the Stitches is no longer 50, it's 40%. But are we going to have Convection on this? We are going to have Convection on the set of Kael'thas. So they are going to be playing Protect him until he gets to his 20. And we will be trying to monitor that as best as we can throughout the match. And Zarya is using her grenades to get a little bit of poke and vision. Looks like we're just going to have everyone playing extremely safe here and backing off. ETC will be going into bottom, and the Dahaka will be going into top. So it looks like Sky5, they're just going to go ahead and straight into their laning phase. They're not going to worry too much about this this first level kill. Now, this is the 4-man rotation we did talk about in draft, and so I was wondering if they're going to leave one person in mid. At this point... So they are going to be... I'm not sure if they're doing the rotations or not, because the Zarya is holding, staying back. Excuse me. Just checking in on top. It looks like Tracer is trying to come in for this pick, but the Rhaegar will be there. Okay, no. Looks like the Tracer's just going to be going in for the capture onto the altar. Bottom will be picked up by the Greymane right away, and we do have 2 in mid already. Just making sure that the Stitches can't put himself into that Dragonite. Now, it would be only like a minute 30 Dragonite, but it still gets a little bit of that front gate. We do have a small engagement going on up here, though. Malthael is starting to take down this Tracer a little bit at a time. They both will have to actually tap. We are going to have Brightwing coming into top, so it's going to be 3-man in top, where the Stitches will rotate into bottom, and this will be maybe a Kael'thas falling if they do get the pick. I don't think it will be happening. Kael'thas is still just zeros on those, but he does get charged in, and the butt bite from the Rhaegar. Now, there is no follow-up from the Greymane. He does get a Cocktail out, but it does not get enough damage. So they're going to be going ahead and holding this bottom. At this point, they are going to be also getting pushed out of top on the side of NoobSlayin. It looks like... Are they racing to mid? Do they think that they're going to get it? Okay. Looks like they're just making these rotations at this point. The Greymane is going up... Excuse me, the Rhaegar is going up against this Kael'thas, who could potentially lose. They do see the rotation from the enemy team. Tracer does get onto this Rhaegar. There is the pulse round, and he gets bodied across the map. Now, Tracer is really low here. Does take a grenade. They do actually get the hook onto the... And that's going to be the first kill of the game going over to NoobSlayin. Second kill of the game as well. No, excuse me, I lied. First kill of the game went over to... Sky5, they bodied the Rhaegar across the map. He already respawned so quick. I looked up, I go, that's the first kill. Alright, though. So, with bottom being recaptured by NoobSlayin, they will go ahead and just push into this tower, try and get as much value out of this lane control that they currently have with these Siege Giants. Now, in top, we do have Dahaka in the bush. Brightwing maybe trying to bait out a little bit here, but it looks like Dahaka will be burrowing in bottom. He goes in right next to this Greymane, gets the stun right onto him. Greymane does dive onto the Kael'thas, trying to use him as a way out, but it looks like at this point we will be having the Greymane falling as well. So it looks like Zarya will be going ahead and trying to get this cancellation. They do rush into mid, make sure that no one gets this now. Kael'thas is extremely low here, so he will have to be careful. But it looks like at this time we're just going to have a little bit more laning. They do have 7s on the side of NoobSlayin, so while they're making these rotations and working on 7s themselves by Sky5, go ahead and check in some of these talents. We do have the cleanse actually out from the Rhaegar. Cocktail build is being continued by the Greymane. Does he have a hook? It just barely misses. Slam build looks pretty normal from the... Ooh, he does not get it in time, unfortunately. Kael'thas is still working through those convection stacks, and it looks pretty... A lot of, standard builds. Nothing odd to talk about here. Actually, you know what I will note? Tracer did go untouchable. That is one thing that I would like to note. I guess they're expecting to get many kills against the Malthael. He's like really the only super squishy one, I would think. But the Tracer does actually blink through. Malthael does get the secondary pull. There is the Brightwing does just blink right in, but unfortunately the rest of the team was there, so ETC will get bodied. Does the Dahaka have essence? Okay, so he'll be able to get out fine. Greymane gets a cocktail through the gate, and that will probably give him a couple more stacks. Now, Tracer is defending in top. Alright, so she will probably see a lot of these members coming in, so she's just going to rotate out here. Now, in mid, we only have... The Zarya is not in position yet to capture this, and Dahaka is currently in bottom against the Greymane with the Kael'thas. So at this point, the best idea would be really just to make sure that they hold one of these and work towards their 10s. Maybe force a fight, then take the advantage, then get onto the towers. That's really the way that NoobSlayin can really get a good hold on this map. It's been a it's been stalemate-y-ish at this point. The retreat does come out. Does Greymane get away here? Is there a tongue from the Dahaka? The Whirlwind just barely misses him. Rhaegar will be rotating down here. They will get the tongue onto her. But with this, I'm thinking that... Okay, so they do have 10s at this point. They have to back off. Now, top is taken. We have the Curse Bullet picked up with the Gorge, Ancestral, the Expulsion Zone, and it looks like Tormented Souls. So the Brightwing is going to get picked up. Gorge, there is a slow out from the Rhaegar, but the Brightwing does not have Blink. I do not believe. Do they have something to kill the Brightwing? The Wolf Run is there. The Bite Butt, the Cocktail. Oh no! And the Brightwing gets away, unfortunately. So that will push them back a little bit here. Now top, Tracer is going up against this Malthael. He gets his Death Wave out to her, and she will be falling to the poison. But at the same time, bottom is... Okay, it hasn't been channeled yet, but I don't think they can get to this quick enough for them to channel bottom. Plus the poke from ETC. Yeah, that will be picked up right away. But Greymane... Okay, I heard the Curse Bull go out, and I say, wait, we gotta go check this out. Looks like the ETC will just get away. They're going to lane up a little bit here. But 10s are picked up on the side of Sky5 as well. So we are going to have the Pulse Rounds from the Tracer, Emerald Wind from the Brightwing, Adaptation from the Dahaka, Stage Dive, I believe, from the ETC. The Kael'thas is picked up here. The Emerald Wings does come out. They get the Body Block and the Polymorph onto him. There is the shielding, and it looks like Kael'thas will be dying at this point. The Dahaka has used his Essence already. The Curse Bullet does come out. He does go, or excuse me, Adaptation. The Curse Bullet did come out, so he took all that damage, but it went back up into health because he had the Burrow. Uses that bush and gets right out. So they're going to go ahead and capture bottom, but at the same time, top is going to be captured by the Tracer. Now, meanwhile, Malthael has been pushing into mid quite a bit at this point. The hook goes out, but it just misses. And with that, it looks like we are just going to be having 13s arriving quite soon. They're going to be playing extremely safe. They get the well, so they're taking out the lane sustain. They have that gone in bottom and mid, and that really makes it difficult for them to kind of stay and poke down these Dragonshire areas. It looks like bottom was stolen away by the Greymane. Curse Bolt does come out onto the Dahaka. I was thinking he might have Adaptation, but he does not actually. It's another 30 seconds on that, so he just uses Essence, so he doesn't have any more. He will have to burrow up into top. The Mosh just come out. Expulsion Zone is there to interrupt it. Kael'thas does get a Pyro Bomb onto the Rhaegar, but it will not kill him right away, or at all. But the Dragon Knight was picked up by NoobSlayin, so they will go ahead push into this mid 4. It's about an 8-minute Dragon Knight, so it's not extremely powerful, but it still will do a decent amount of siege damage in this mid lane when left alone. Looks like we're going to have a lot of the teams collapsing here. Next year we're going to be having bottom still being pushed in by a couple of the members of NoobSlayin. They actually kicked the Dahaka a little far forward, and they start to chase them towards their gates. Now the Zarya is falling extremely low here. She does put the shield on herself. She does get the Expulsion Zone, but ETC gets another basic attack. The Dragon Knight goes in for the charge. Does he have a drag? He does a breath, and that will be the kill. Now Dahaka did chase here a little bit deep. They did get the tongue onto one of the members. The hook comes out and actually pulls the Dahaka back over. The adaptation is used, gives him a second life bar in time. He is going to get chased. Oh, it looks like he's going to go ahead and give that up. They're going to go ahead and give that up. And the Dragon Knight will be working on mid just a little bit more. Looks like that Dragon's Breath will be enough, and they'll start backing up. Malthael will be getting tongued here, actually, but the Emerald Wind, but he actually popped his Tormented Souls at the same time. ETC gets hooked, and he gets destroyed and thrown actually over into the pond up there. So with that kill, they're going to go ahead and say we're going to get mid. They confirm bottom during that Dragon Knight as well, and it looks like Zarya will be working on this this soft camp. With 13s picked up, let's take a quick peek at some of those talents. It looks like both the teams are going to be working on their hard camps. Appears not. So, though, we are having the Ice Block come out from the Brightwing. Looks like we're going to have... I'm trying to see if the Unfurled Assault... Okay. More slam build from the Stitches, and KT's still holding on to his. We do have the Leeching Rounds from the Tracer. So we are having this small engagement here. ETC does have, and I said Stage Dive earlier, he has Mosh. My mistake. I read the icon wrong. So with this hard camp and this easy camp, they're going to go ahead and really push this up into the gate, take a lot of the shots out from it, and it looks... Oh, Apple Mike. The Tracer actually does have a bunch of blinks through, but the tongue does come out onto one of the members. Now the ETC does get the mush up, but it is interrupted by the hook from the Stitches. And this looks like it's a clean disengage from both teams. 16s are picked up on the side of NoobSlayin. And do we have the extra slam? Welcome to the Slam Jam. So they do have that. So they have the slow onto it. Greyman actually went for Executioner as well. So they are going to be invading this camp at this point. There is no mosh for another 97 seconds. They actually do the expulsion zone onto the point, but I do not think they'll be able to get to it quick enough to capture it. Brightwing does get onto it. The Greymane does get the Ancestor healing. They do get the camp, but they actually lose they lose the Dahaka. The Gorge does go out onto the Kael'thas. He is isolated away from his team. Greymane is there. He does try and get a bunch of damage out, but I think he gets 2 stacks off of that. And we are also going to be having the Tracer falling, which will mean that she'll be losing her untouchable stacks. Now, this should be a free Dragonite on the side of NoobSlayin. And with it being about 12 minutes, they should be able to get a keep gate and maybe a little bit of the keep. Really depends on... Dahaka did take the... He didn't take the... Okay. I would have thought you would have taken the armor reduction. Because Malthael, when he goes Tormented Souls, has armor, so you could actually maybe nullify that with his armor reduction at 13. That's just a thought. Anyways, the Curse Bolt does come out onto the Dahaka, which pushes him back a little bit here. We do have the Dragonite working on this keep already, and the one thing I wanted to note, actually, that Siege Camp and that the 2 Mercenary camps that were pushing in bottom definitely actually provided a lot of utility to this push that's actually happening now, because they took a lot of the cannon shots out from the gate, and that allowed them to push up even harder because there was less for them to really worry about, working with the minion wave, having the Dragonite tank some damage. But at this point, they're doing something very interesting. They're actually having the Dragonite linger in bottom. Actually, they kicked the ETC into the enemy team. Oh my god, the Tormented Souls is there, but the Emerald, when anti-synergizes with the Mosh, pushes some of the members out of it, but the Cleanse is there and it actually gets no... They end up losing one of the members. I was saying no because the poor Kael'thas won't be able to use his Pyro Bomb. And the Tracer had a literal sliver of health. But at the same time, while all this was happening, Zarya just went ahead and said, I'm going to shield myself, I'm going to expulsion so myself, sacrifice myself for this keep. So while they did get a 4 kill against the enemy team, which did pull them back up and experience a decent amount, it's still 2 level lead, 2 level difference, but at the same time they definitely, I don't know if the keep value was better or if this push, this push is still going to be, extremely helpful towards their experience gain because there's really nothing that they can be currently doing and soaking. Looks like Stitches will be going ahead and taking this siege camp. In the meantime, he has Gorge, so if he does get a hook, he could pull someone maybe into the gate. Excuse me. Primal Swarm. Alright, so with this rotation, they're going to be playing extremely safe here on the side of Sky5. It looks like they're really looking to just make sure that they rotate together. Dahaka has Brush Stalker, so he can come in at any point if he is... Okay, I thought he was going to be working on that camp. They actually capture this in time. The team does not spot it right away. They get a little bit of poke with this Kael'thas, but unfortunately he is still only at 6 of his 20 stacks. Now we do have the shrines activating in the next 25 seconds, so I'm curious to see if there's going to be a team fight. Looks like they're actually trying to take one ahead of time. They do scout it out with the Malthael. There is not enough length on that hook. They get the demount with the grenade, and that's just going to be a nuisance. Now, in bottom, I believe Rhaegar and Greymane have been getting camps. So they went ahead and got the 2 siege camps and the hard camp in bottom. So it's going to be a lot of push in a lane with no keep, and they definitely have to respond to that. So they put 2 in bottom already. The Tracer is in top. Brightwing does have the Z in. So they do show the Malthael that he is alone. The Zarya does show as well. They go in on the Dahaka. Do they use the expulsion zone? Nope, they don't. Okay, so the Tracer... Oh... The Tracer almost got interrupted. That was so close. But Dahaka burrowed bottom. He's going to be going up against the Stitches. Is there going to be a hook out? He is fighting in their wave, so he can. But it looks like Malthael's already going to be posturing up for this. He's going to go ahead and capture it. And this looks like it's going to be a Dragonite that should be rotating. Well, they got rid of the gate, so they probably are going to go straight into the keep with this. But let's just check the 20 talents really quick before we go into this. They're going to be having Unyielding Defender, the Rewind, the Fatal Curtain, and the the Improved Gorge. So, with that, they have to play extremely safe here on the side of Sky5 because of the fact that they do not have 20s yet. Now, the Dragonite does not want to aggress and just burn down his house, so they're kind of also waiting for the minion wave to get here, take a little bit of damage. The Dahaka gets slowed by the Earthgrass Totem from... there is no Earthgrass Totem, excuse me. It was just from the regular Totem. So they do get the tongue onto the Dragonite, but he actually, I believe, has 50% reduction on stuns and roots, so I believe that tongue really is actually half the normal amount of drag. And that's really... It's not the most useful person to be dragging in this situation. Yeah, you stop him for a few seconds, but it's the Dragonite, and he's just going to continue to do what he's doing, which is kick people out of the way, throw some breath out. It's going to do damage over time, slowly to the keep. And this is exactly what they want. They're slowly getting it down. Now, the Dragonite can go ahead, take this in. They do get the tongue onto the Zarya. The Curse Bullet does come out. The Pulse Run is there. The Ancestral does connect just in time. The Kael'thas does get his Pyro Bomb out, and it's almost going to kill her, but the Ancestral was the reason she lived. Now, the Mosh does come out to buy a little bit of time. I think they were meaning to use that time to get on the Malthael when he pops out of the dragon. But the Dahaka will be able to get away. Malthael will not be able to go on to any of the members here. He did not get it. This will be ETC dying from the damage over time. They're starting to work onto this core. They get the Gorge onto... the triple Gorge onto some of the members. Oh my god, and Malthael comes out right away with the Tormented Souls, and they are just trying to kill these members. It looks like this second game will be going over to NoobSlayin. GG, well played.